What's up? It's Emeka. I love director's commentaries, but it's too long for video titles, so I'm going to nickname these videos DCXs for short. Um, I'm not intellectual enough to make an art commentary channel or petty enough to make a drama channel, but I do have one thing to talk about. My infinite mind palace of useless factoids and obsessions with early 2000s cartoons. So consider this channel a retrospective on my childhood nostalgia or just the mindless rants of a madman. Either way, I'm here to entertain. I love pretty much every iteration of Scooby-Doo. The original series from the 90s, a pup named Scooby-Doo, the straight-to-DVD movie specials that also premiered on Cartoon Network, the several reboots that aired on Kids WB and Cartoon Network, James Gunn's live-action adaptations, and even obscure ones like the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, or worse, Scooby-Doo Goes to Hollywood. Now, Scooby-Doo Goes to Hollywood, I had that one. Oh my god, I owned that on VHS for the longest time as a kid. I used to watch it on repeat. I was obsessed with Scooby-Doo. I bought it later as a DVD to show my friends in college that it existed because I would talk about it and they'd be like, that doesn't sound like a real Scooby-Doo movie. I'm like, oh no, Scooby Goes to Hollywood's a real movie. Trust me, it's real. It exists and it's all about Scooby-Doo rebranding himself for different audiences, and as it's very, bad. It's a bad movie, but it's very reminiscent of what I'm going to talk about here today. Also, Shaggy was his manager, like his agent in the movie, like trying to get him a better movie deal or something, like the better rights for Scooby-Doo. And I was like, that's crazy. I hate the trope when cartoons do that thing where it's like, oh yeah, the characters are playing a character and they're really actors, but that really kind of changes everything. Where Shaggy's not only Scooby's co-host in the mythos that is the Scooby-Doo show, but he's also Scooby's manager. That just blows my mind. Just a stupid idea. It's just a stupid idea. Look, I love Scooby-Doo. That's the bottom of it. You see what I mean by useless factoids? I just recited the plot thread to Scooby-Doo Goes to Hollywood, and probably no one saw it or cares that it exists, and I'm the only one who does. And Sherlock Holmes says, only keep what's in your mind palace that can fit in your mind. Get rid of the stuff you don't need. Yeah, I don't need Scooby-Doo in my brain anymore. I mean, I just remembered from Scooby-Doo Goes to Hollywood. I'm gonna move away from this and get to the meat of the video, but I just remember Shaggy be Mr. Director, I don't think you're fully understanding Scooby's full potential. He can be doing real drama here, and you just want him to do the same old stick. And man, we want a bigger percentage, and the contract. I'm just what is this? This isn't Shaggy. This isn't Scooby-Doo. It was a very weird meta movie, and I don't know what it was trying to do. Alright, but now that I've, ranted about that, I can finally move on with my life a little bit. I don't have to, close my eyes and be like, oh my god, Scooby-Doo Goes to Hollywood. No one's gonna believe me but me. As a kid, literally the only cereal brand I would eat was Cinnamon Marshmallow Scooby-Doo cereal. It was a sugary flavor train that sparked my taste buds and turned my milk green. Not moldy green, but spooky ghost ectoplasm green. Like a neon, kind of glowish green. In fact, Kellogg's and Warner Brothers need to bring that back. I swear to God. If chocolate Cinnamon Toast Crunch can make a return, then so can Scooby-Doo cereal. Sometimes when I'm in the supermarket, I can glimpse a Scooby-Doo box, and then I turn to the shelf all excited, only to realize it was the Scooby-Doo gummy bears. I fucking hate gummy bears. Because they taste like little rubber cough syrup nuggets. They're gross. I hate them. I hate them. I hate them. And I get mad every time I'm there. And I'm like, oh my god, they brought back the Scooby-Doo cinnamon thing. And I'm like, oh my god, my milk can be green again. And then like I look and it's those stupid gummy bears. God, I hate gummy bears. I know that somewhere out there, there's some bootleg whack job trying to recreate discontinued cereals. And if you're out there, please resurrect the secret formula to the Scooby-Doo cereal so I can become 5 years old again. I'm gonna say it again. Cinnamon Marshmallow Scooby-Doo cereal was the highlight of my life. Like, I'd wake up, I'd be like, oh man, I'm gonna have some like Scooby-Doo cereal, eat some Scooby snacks. And like my milk would turn green, and then I'd watch Scooby-Doo on Saturday mornings, and it was perfect. It was the perfect experience. And it's gone. It needs to come back. Someone please, Kellogg's, the bootleggers, someone out there, make this cereal come back. Please, I'm begging you. Cereal tangent aside, Scooby-Doo needs a new reincarnation for the masses. And no, I'm not talking about the new 3D, family-friendly Scoob film. Scoob! Sorry, I can't say Scoob normally. You gotta do the, like, Scoob! Scoob film. I'm totally gonna see an IMAX this upcoming spring. Unless coronavirus cancels that too, then I'll just be inside and, you know, upset and then ranting about Scooby-Doo. What I'm talking about is an R-rated Scooby-Doo reboot on Adult Swim. Realistically, no other animation network is gonna accept this pitch or risk besmirching Warner Brothers' precious, timeless, E-rated kids cartoon. It's time to break that trend, because here's the thing. Warner Brothers executives, newsflash, my 8-year-old nephew doesn't give two craps about Scooby-Doo. He grew up in a post-Steve Jobs world where Saturday morning cartoons were killed by streaming sites, and the Scooby-Doo IP was in this weird limbo from 2015 until today. Now here's the really scary part. My sister doesn't have Boomerang, so my nephew can't even brush up on the classics. Now, because of this, my nephew only likes hockey. He thinks Teen Titans Go is better than the OG Teen Titans from 2003. In my opinion, the only Teen Titans that exist, but that's a rant for a different day, a different video, and has never watched Scooby-Doo. I asked him today, I said, do you know who Scooby-Doo is? He said, yeah, I know who Scooby-Doo is. I'm like, who is he? He's a dog? I'm like, and he's like, I don't know. Like, he doesn't know who Scooby-Doo is. Like, he's never seen it, and that, like, disheartens me, because I'm like, early 2000s, late 90s cartoons were this shit, and they built who I am today. For better or for worse, they've made me a better person. Anyway, Warner Brothers executives, that's the demographic you're trying to pander to, and it's never gonna work. I so badly want to be wrong here, and I hope that Scoob! I gotta stop that. And hope that Scoob 2020 succeeds. Then the franchise is revitalized and families nationwide can fall in love with Scooby-Doo all over again. But something in my gut tells me that the Baby Scooby gimmick won't work. People were already sick of Baby Yoda way before Baby Peanut got memed into mediocrity during his debut in this year's Super Bowl ad. Babies as a marketing brand never last very long. Just rewind to Boss Baby, or rewind to Baby Looney Tunes, and even rewind to the Cave Baby from Ice Age. Fictional babies never stand the test of time. Even great shows like Rugrats had its rise and fall. You Warner Brothers execs need to understand that the demographic that you need to actually pander to are the 20-something-year-old man-children like me who grew up with the franchise and wore a XXL Scooby-Doo costume on Halloween for a party in college that spiritually disturbed all his friends. That wasn't me, by the way. That was an extreme metaphor. Here's the pitch. The working title is Scooby Gang. The established timeline is post-college, and it's been about 10 years after Mystery Incorporated went their separate ways. The best Scooby-Doo reboots are when the gang splits up and then they eventually reunite. Just rewind to Scooby-Doo Zombie Island or the James Gunn films if you don't believe me. They're all great. Or even better yet, Scooby-Doo Goes to Hollywood. They separate in that one and they like reevaluate their film careers. Okay. That was a bad example. But the Scooby-Doo 1 and Scooby-Doo Zombie Island, great examples of the gang splitting up, coming back together to solve one last mystery. You know, it's great. It's a good setup. Breaking up the band gives each character room to grow and develop into something new other than the pigeonholes they get troped into. You see, they have a working group dynamic, and that's why this franchise has lasted for so long and why there's so many iterations, because they have a nice working group dynamic, and, you know, like, it works episode to episode. But if we're doing a reboot and we want to pander to those diehard fans, we got to change it up a little bit. We can't just do the same old. We got to bring something a little new to the table. And I don't mean doing something gimmicky like turning Scooby into a baby or, you know, making fun of superhero movies, which seemed like the kind of vibe the Scoob trailer was going for. I could be wrong. That movie might actually be a godsend and I'm wrong, and, you know, play this back and be like, oh, you know, Emeka's an idiot. But right now, I don't feel it. Like, I don't think it's gonna pan out. Like we gotta do something different. We gotta, like in the James Gunn film, when Daphne's like, you know, why am I always the damsel in distress? Or when Velma's like, you know, all my ideas, you know, and Fred gets all the credit. And, you know, just kind of like, those are meta commentary things on the franchise and its flaws and, like, how we can grow upon that. And I think giving the group like a separation and a reunite like allows them to grow into something different and form a stronger bond as friends, you know? And that's what people love in a story. They love friendship, they love relationships. That's just like how you build drama. Now, I'm going to reveal how post-graduation transition made each gang member reevaluate their career paths. Because let's be honest here, solving mysteries pro bono isn't putting any money in the bank. And their folks can't bail them out forever. Times are tough in the Scoobyverse. Why else would grown men dress up in elaborate monster costumes to heist museum artifacts, redistribute counterfeit bills, or commit insurance fraud if the economy didn't go to shit? It's not a great cartoon conspiracy that the OG Scooby Gang were growing up in a recession. It's more of just a reality of their world that as kids we were too dumb to see for ourselves. But, you know, growing up wiser, you know, it's like they're committing like these like white collar crimes for one reason: money. You know, like, you don't unmask these white collar criminals unless there's like some kind of economic crisis. Like, there was one every week, and it was always about money, always. You know, the whole point of Scooby-Doo Zombie Island is that it was like an actual mystery around like the supernatural, which is why those like 1 hour straight to DVD Scooby-Doo specials that premiered on Cartoon Network were perfect. Alright, so I'm going to describe the characters now. Velma Dinkley obviously thrived in our post-Steve Jobs society. She successfully got her master's and PhD in criminology at a younger age than most of her peers in college. Dr. Dinkley is not only a prestigious professor at MIT, but a self-published author on 3 popular criminology books, and periodically gives TED Talk lectures on her groundbreaking theories on criminology. Her social media following and popularity puts her up next to like geniuses like Neil deGrasse Tyson, Bill Nye the Science Guy. Like people know about Dr. Dinkley. You know, like some people want like there to be a Dr. Dinkley show, like a very like informative criminology show, but she prefers lectures. You know, TV is not like Velma's kind of shy in front of a camera, so like it makes sense. Like she'd do talks. Maybe she'd narrate over like a criminology documentary or something, but you know, she's kind of like... Oh, also she has LASIK. She got laser eye surgery to like fix her... No more glasses. Because, you know, glasses and contacts for me burned my retinas out. So one day, maybe I'll have the balls to do it. On the other hand, I might never do it because, you know, my friend told me he could smell it, the, like, burning flesh of his eyes. And that sounds horrible. So I'm not going to, like, plant that risk. I need my eyes to draw cartoons, and I need my eyes to, you know, make art and videos and stuff. So, you know, not going to risk that. Where was I? I went on a whole rant about LASIK. Alright. So, in the show Scooby Gang, she rarely cameos over FaceTime due to her busy schedule, but enables Shaggy's episodic schemes because she always had a thing for him since their fling back in high school. This plot thread isn't just to appease the shippers, but to be an Easter egg to the Scooby-Doo reboot from 2010. They flirt from time to time, but it never goes anywhere beyond that because of their schedule differences and each other's insecurities about commitment. You know, they had like a mutual understanding, like they liked, you know, they were like buddies, essentially. They're buddies. And now they're just like good friends who still want to, but like they're like, Velma has her career and Shaggy, I'll get to what happened to Shaggy. Daphne Blake, the sole heiress to the Blake family's fortune, went on a study abroad trip during her senior year at Yale University School of Arts and never came back for graduation. She's been on academic leave for several years now, despite her father's dismay. Like, I like to imagine that, like, she had, like, enough credits, like, she just had to take, like, one more semester and then she would have graduated, but, like, I just think that's, like, more privileged to, like, you could have passed if you, like, really put in, like, 2 seconds of effort, but she just went on academic leave, you know, like, very bougie. Daphne's a very bougie person, so I can see her doing this in, like, 10 years. So the reason she did that was she felt like her degree aligned with her father's aspirations instead of hers, and decided last minute that she needed to travel the world in order to find herself. Now that's the lie that she tells herself and others, like, oh, my dad wanted me to, you know, go to that school. I didn't really want to go to that school. That's just the lie she says, you know, like the reality is that she was never really cut out for the fashion art scene. Not because she didn't fit in with the bougie fashion designer crowd, not because she had a bad fashion portfolio, but because her ego could never allow herself to be open to a negative criticism of her work. Famous fashion critic Anna Wintour from Vogue magazine did a private critique for Yale senior fashion students, where she commented that Miss Blake's designs were mediocre and missing the creativity that spawns from life experiences. I don't know Anna Wintour. I just needed a Vogue magazine credit. It could be anybody. We can make it up. Whatever. I just thought, you know, I mean, I'm pulling from the real world to, like, give it some, to make it more, like, relatable. I think, like, the more grounded this show is, the more believable it'll be as, like, a reboot. Now, I've been in many art critiques in art school. Look at me, I'm so fancy. And that's just vague enough, just enough to pierce Daphne's ego, and I could see her, like, kind of drastically being like, I'm done with school, after, like, someone she respects, especially from Vogue magazine, like, the fashion magazine. Of course she would, like, you know, have a whole existential crisis. So after that occurred, now Daphne is an Instagram influencer, chasing the fluctuating trends that keep her relevant, keep sponsors endorsing her Instagram, and resides in whatever far exotic locale her dad's frequent flyer miles enable her to go until he finally revokes her passport and freezes her credit cards. Because, you know, that's where it's gonna end. That's like her character trajectory. Fred Jones, the former stoic gang leader, didn't grow up with the financial safety net to fall back on like his ex-girlfriend Daphne, and didn't pave his career path in academia like Velma. Fred instead was always a simple man with simple tastes, goals, and ambitions. He didn't have the money for financial aid or work super hard for a scholarship. He lived in the now and never really worried about his future aside from paying bills. He's still paying vehicle payments on his van, aka the Mystery Machine, since high school. I'm just going to refer it to as the van because it's shorter, it's easier to... We all know what we're talking about. The Mystery Machine. I got the toy for Christmas. No. Alright. The Mystery Machine. We all know what the Mystery Machine. It's the only van in existence that is teal and orange. Like, what a color combo. Teal, green, and orange. Never seen that before. I love it. I love the Mystery Machine. It's great. But I'm going to refer to it as the van. So he's been making vehicle payments on it, like car payments on it in high school. He's late with rent and utilities on an apartment he leased in his hometown, Coolsville. His landlord doesn't kick him out because she knows Fred does a retail shift in the morning and a telemarketing shift in a cubicle at night in order to work off his debts. Also, I wanted to shape Fred as the kind of guy who he never really left his hometown. He never really made something of himself. And he just kind of fell into that trap of the local retail and chasing bills. Because, he's that guy who kind of just peaked in high school. And then after that, he didn't really, But Fred doesn't really care about that. He's not really insecure about that. Others would be, someone like Daphne be insecure about that, which is Fred doesn't really care about that. Like I said, he lives in the now. He has to worry about he doesn't think that far ahead. You feel me? Also, Fred's landlord is sympathetic to the fact that he blew all his college savings on an expensive experimental cancer treatment for his dad. Unfortunately, the surgery failed and his dad later died. But the medical bills and insurance fees lived on to dig Fred into a financial black hole. God, that's more depressing than I thought it was going to be. But, no. I think this works. I think that Fred has to be the more grounded one of the group and kind of live in, this kind of reality. It's sadder, but it keeps him honest, it keeps him fair, and it makes him a hard worker. Now, I know we've all been waiting for this. Our unreliable protagonist is Norville Shaggy Rogers. Yes, Norville is his first name. That's a fact. Shaggy's first name is not Shaggy. That's not a name. It's a nickname. His name's Norville. Can you believe that? Norville? Such a weird name. Shaggy. I'm Norville. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Shaggy is a Coolsville Community College dropout on pursuit of his hip-hop career. Shaggy, a.k.a. Shizzy McCreepy, a.k.a. the Notorious Creep, a.k.a. XXX Shaggy, a.k.a. Lil Shiz, is an unemployed wannabe SoundCloud mumble rapper with white boy dreads, one gold tooth, a red v-neck, faded old brown jeans, and cheap shoes. He has gang tattoos on his face and arms despite him not being in a real gang. In fact, his production company is called Scooby Gang. See what I did there? Brand recognition. Was Shaggy destined to fall off? Maybe, maybe not. But when your motivations are to hit that next blunt and get some food, you're not really gonna be a rising success now, are you? Shaggy constantly mooches off of Fred for cash, food, and especially his van. In fact, in high school, Fred made a pact with everybody that no matter what happens to them after college, everyone has the privilege to borrow his van for a whole week. And after one person's week is up, it would rotate to the next person. Kind of like a chore wheel, but just kind of using the van for whatever. I imagine that Fred was we don't know where everyone's going to be after college. If we're in between jobs or our job's really far away from where we live, you can borrow the van. It's our van. It's not my van, even though I'm paying all the payments and stuff. But it's our van. So, I'm happy to share it. And in my mind, this was Fred's way of trying to keep the group together symbolically, even if they weren't able to see each other for a while. However, Shaggy abuses the system by claiming Velma and Daphne's weeks and stacking them on his own week, because Velma has a car, because why wouldn't she? She's a professor at MIT. And Daphne is God knows where on another continent. Her last thought is about that, like, old van. Okay? So like, I just imagine, like, him calling, like, Fred every week, like, Fred, I kind of need the van. Yeah, again. Essentially, most of the given year, it's Shaggy's van. Fred's paying for it. The lease is under Fred's name. It's Shaggy's van, though. And he lives in it. Which is, you know, if I was going to have Fred in, like, financial straits and living in an apartment, I was tempted to make Shaggy the roommate, but I thought it'd be funnier if he just lived in that van. So, the weeks where Fred needs the van to get to work, Shaggy just kind of hops along because, you know, he honestly has nowhere else to be. Like, imagine, like, Fred's like, alright, it's my week, I gotta take the van to work. And, like, alright. And then Shaggy's just, like, in the van and, like, waiting in the lot. Waiting for Fred to come on his lunch break and move on to his next shift, and then waiting for night to when he can get the van back. You know, it's just kind of... God, that sounds like a very toxic relationship. No, it's very funny. It's very funny. So the reason that Fred enables Shaggy's irresponsible behavior instead of, you know, just throwing him out on his ass is because his father told him on his deathbed, your friends are your family now. A Jones doesn't give up on family. The tense relationship between Fred and Shaggy drives the plot forward, essentially. You know, that's like the main conflict that kind of like is like a recurring theme throughout the narrative. Now, you're probably wondering, Scooby-Doo, where are you? Well, hate to be that guy, but Scooby's dead. He was already an old dog, and if you age up everybody in a time skip, then so does Scooby. In dog years, it's either depict him as a sick dog, retcon him to be young and not part of the OG Mystery Inc. from 10 years ago before the time skip, back in the day, or kill him off. Honestly, it was the only move. But Emeka, how can you reboot Scooby-Doo without Scooby-Doo, you might ask? You're right. It's impossible. This whole video was for nothing. It's impossible unless Scooby's death was the catalyst that broke up the gang. You know, it didn't seem right. Like, I was like, yeah, there'd be a time skip. You know, they all go their separate ways after college. But would that really prevent this gang of friends who are so close and gone through so many adventures to just, like, fall off? No, right? Like, geographical distance doesn't break a friendship. You know, they would have made it work. Unless Scooby-Doo, the heart, the glue that binds everyone together, was gone. And, you know, it would leave a hole, an emotional veil hovering over everybody. And it would kind of be easier for people to just eventually over time move on in their own different ways. And I can see them all reacting to Scooby's death. Like, Scooby was very special. He was a talking dog. There's not a lot of talking dogs out there. So, obviously, that's going to have an emotional effect on any friend group. If, like, the group pet that talked, you know, made everyone's day, like, died, of course, you know, things are going to change, right? You know, the dynamic, a big core of the dynamic was Scooby, and with him gone, you know, it's only a matter of time, everyone falls out. Those are some big shoes to fill. Now, I already know a lot of people hate this idea, me killing Scooby-Doo for my Scooby-Doo reboot. But, hear me out. Scrappy-Doo takes up the mantle of Scooby-Doo. I know, Scrappy-Doo has been an annoyance in everybody's eyes from years, fan to not fan, you know. I mean, hell, James Gunn made him the antagonist in Scooby-Doo 1. Spoilers, if for some reason you missed out on one of the best films from 2002. Look, Scrappy was an annoying, bratty, loudmouth kid. And we were all that annoying kid at one point in our lives. But Scrappy-Doo post-time skip essentially looks like prime Scooby-Doo. Dogs of the same breed look identical, let alone if they're related to each other. In fact, after his uncle died, Scrappy decided to honor him by talking just like him. At a glance, like if someone was to just like randomly flip the channel, and boom, they're on episode 3, they'd be like, oh yeah, that's Scooby-Doo. They wouldn't even know that, like unless they like were invested in the story, then they know that's Scrappy-Doo. But you just glance at it, you know, you put it on the cover or whatever, you know, it's just, for all sake and purposes, that's Scooby-Doo. And no one's gonna look any different unless you like really watch the show, which I'm hoping diehard fans would, unless they really hate Scrappy-Doo, they don't like this idea. But like, I don't know, this is the only way the pitch works. It's right for the story, it feels right. And I'm gonna defend Scrappy-Doo taking up the mantle. I feel like people aren't gonna notice that Scooby's gone. I know it's sad to say, but like, they look identical, they sound the same. No one's gonna really know, except like, if you like listen and like, instead of hearing Scooby's, you know, Shaggy's gonna say, hey, Scrap. Because that's his new nickname. Scrappy's a little childish, come on, man. So Scrap-Doo sticks by Shaggy's side as his music producer / plug, because Shaggy isn't pulling in the cash with his raps, so Scrap resorted to the one thing he knows, baking his signature Scooby snack edibles and selling them from the back of the van. On the streets, they're called scoobs. Like, can I get that scoob? Hey, yo, you got those scoobs? Oh, snap, he brought scoobs to the party. You know what I'm talking about? It's a very popular street high. It's very popular. Scrap never eats from his own supply, but in exchange for Shaggy promoting scoobs, the drug, no, you know, Scoobs, for promoting Scoobs and their song raps, he gives Shaggy a lifetime supply. So I imagine like he's like, yo man, I get high on that Scoob. Like I just imagine like when like you know there's all those Zan rappers on SoundCloud and like all those like flex rappers who rap about perks and lean, you know. I feel like Shaggy's like gimmick drug on SoundCloud would be Scoobs, and it would just be popping in Coolsville, and everyone would have their own version of Scoobs. Like Scrap has like his like OG pure Scoob edible. Everyone has like off-brand, because you know there's off-brand like crackers for everything, like off-brand snacks. There'd be like an off-brand Scooby snack. It's not as good, so you know everyone, you know, they're like, oh, we gotta get those like Scoobs. Also, I just like the idea of like Scrappy-Doo being a drug dude. Like he's gonna have like I already made Shaggy ratchet, right? So Scrappy has to look like a thug. Like he's gonna have a do-rag on. He'll have like a gold chain with the original like Scooby-Doo like his uncle's like what's it called? You put on a dog, the collar, the name, the dog tag. He has like the original dog tag, but it's like in a gold chain, and you know he's like Scooby in his prime. You know, he's a little more muscular, but like on a glance, it looks like Scooby-Doo, but like a thuggish Scooby-Doo with a do-rag, and then you realize it's Scrappy-Doo grown up. So the show overall is pretty slice of life and episodic. The structure is simple. Shaggy and Scrap owe Fred cash, they steal his van, come up with some crazy scam, acquire cash, lose cash, promise to pay Fred next week, and get high. Pretty rinse and repeat kind of episode structure, you know. I think the characters are funny enough to where the plot, like the episodic plot, doesn't really matter. Like there could be a lemonade episode, like a lemonade stand episode, the beach episode. Like, it really doesn't matter. Like this is just funny, like on its face, so it doesn't really like need to have like an intricate episodic layout. Occasionally episodes will feature cameos from like Velma and Daphne. Like I see Velma like FaceTiming, like checking up on Shaggy. I see Daphne like randomly, maybe she'll have like a throwback Instagram post of like the OG Scooby Gang and like they'll share it or something. Maybe she'll randomly call one day. But you know, also the series finale will comprise of the gang reuniting to solve one last mystery. And it goes back to like its roots, like classic Scooby-Doo episode with the new cast, and they've changed, and it'll be interesting because they've changed, but they kind of fit back into that old dynamic, but they've kind of grown and learned over time from solving so many mysteries. You know, I think it'd be cool, like one last mystery with a seasoned Mystery Inc. and like a mature Scrappy-Doo. I think it could work. At the very least, I think it's funny. Now, who at Adult Swim would be dumb enough to endorse my pitch? Easy. Seth Green, aka Chris Griffin, aka co-creator of Robot Chicken, aka Patrick from Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed. It's perfect. He has the connects. He loves Scooby-Doo. It's perfect. He's a voice actor. He could voice act. He could be Fred. Honestly, the reason I wouldn't cast him as Shaggy, no offense, Seth Green, you're a great voice actor. It's just I really want that dude who does the those Shaggy raps. I'm blanking on the dude's name right now, but he does like these Shaggy parody raps, and they're hilarious. And I just like think it'd be really funny, and it would tie in perfectly with this pitch, and I think it'd be really funny. Okay, this is gone long enough. Seth Green, hit me up if you want to make the magic happen. This was my DCX on Scooby-Doo. Like and subscribe for more videos. Peace.